Hi, my name is Lee and welcome to my channel Cola Flipper. I'm a UK eBay reseller. I buy second-hand items at car boot sales and charity shops and I flip them online for a profit. Today is Sunday the 20-something of June, the last one in June. Didn't go to a car boot this morning because it was looking a bit miserable and I did really well yesterday at the car boot, so I thought I could afford to not go to two on the same weekend. Done really well yesterday. It's relatively clothing heavy, but if you're not a clothing reseller, don't just switch off. There's incredible margins to be made with reselling clothing, and it's just worth watching just to give you an idea of the sort of returns that you can make for fairly sensible outlays. And whilst I know how attractive it is to be reselling media and electronics, but just remember electronics are heavy and a bit of a sod to post. You can't test electronics often when you're out in the field, and you're relying a lot on seller integrity, that the item's in good working order. Whereas with clothing, you can still make similar or higher margins than you can with a lot of the electronics. You can't break it in the post, so it's a lot less concern when you're posting and selling items that you're shipping out. But most of the issues that would come up are things that you can spot, so holes, stains, damage, that sort of thing. So it's just down to basically understanding the brands, and it's very much the same as electronics and whatever else. If you know what brands are good, you know that you should be able to make a decent margin on them, as long as you're paying the right prices. So if you're not a clothing reseller, please do stick around, because I spent 150 quid yesterday, and I've looked at the values and I've worked out, between certain items will be 20, 30 quid, some items 50, 60 pounds. On average, I've gone for the central price for each item. This should return, I think it was just over £1,000. So 150 out, and I reckon it will come back somewhere around the £1,050 mark or thereabouts. So risk versus reward is pretty good, and there's a minimal chance of things not working, as you would get with, for example, electronics. Anyway, let's crack on. First thing is this. Now, whilst this might look like an old suitcase, it is like that by design. This is by Bacardi. Quite a few years ago, Bacardi did whatever promotion this was involved in, and these little suitcases, they're not suitcases at all. What they're meant to be for is for a bar, so it's insulated in the inside, and it would mean that you'd have this as like a cool box or an ice box. Now, they wanted 6, I paid 5 because there's a little bit of damage, a little bit of rust on some of the metalware, but this is incomplete. So the thing that's missing on this is, in this bottom section there was a moulded tray, so a waterproof plastic tray with, I think it had Bacardi sort of punched into it as a logo. And that was obviously your tray for your ice, and there was another logo at the back, so you could actually use it for physically putting ice in. Great for all the people out there who've got home bars now. And if this had been 100% complete, we're looking around 40 odd, 45 pounds, thereabouts. Problem is, this one is incomplete, so whilst it's still insulated, you've still got the foam inners. It can't really be used for putting raw ice in, so it will still look good on someone's bar. I like all the sort of vintage style logos on there. It's really cool, but it's not going to get around the £40 mark. I think in this condition, I'll clean it up obviously, make it look good. I can get rid of the rust, I'll sort all that out. But without that lining, I think my up is going to be around the £25 mark. But we shall see. I'll push it for a little bit higher, see what we get. 3 pairs. Actually, no, I've got 5. I don't even know if I'm going to go through all the shoes. I've got so many things. I think I might do a light review of what we've got and not show every item, because it's just too much to go through. Excuse me. First item then of shoes. These are a pair of suede trainers, and there is wear to the bottom, but these are by a company called Tod's. I believe Tod's is Italian. I've bought some Todd's bits and pieces before, and one of the items I bought a couple of weeks ago was a Todd's handbag. Now I paid up for the handbag, I paid 40 quid. There was a bit of damage, but I could sort that out. The Todd's handbag new would have been close to £1,000. Todd's are well known for making driving shoes and loafers that have this little sort of pebbly sole. Now this one you can see the pebbles worn off, but the pebbly soled leather loafers, they start around the £400 mark. So they're pretty pricey shoes. So these ones, they're in good condition bar the pebbles have worn off the bottom, but they're still going to be absolutely perfect for walking in or whatever else. I think I bought 3 things of the same lady at the same time, and she wouldn't budge much on price because she knew what she had, but I paid £26 and that was for 3 items. So I got these Todds, which she wanted 20 for. These are a pair of LK Bennett heels. Now these she wanted 3 for, and this is a Whistles top. So Whistles ladies top. So all in we only got £1 off, so we agreed 26 for the lot. The Whistles top typically will go for 20 to 30 quid. So straight away, that's potentially the vast majority of the money back after fees. LK Bennett shoes, fantastic manufacturer. These are used, but they're in very good condition. Just need a little bit of plumping up, and those will go for somewhere around the 30 to 50 pound mark. LK Bennett, really, really good shoes. And the Todds, somewhere between 50 and 80 pounds or thereabouts. So these are in good nick. The only problem is there's a little bit of wear to the inside of the heel. It's just about to go through, which isn't ideal, but I just have to mark that up and explain it on the listing. But otherwise, keep an eye out for Todds. Fantastic, fantastic stuff. So yeah, don't be afraid to pay up on the right items. These, I would have probably paid anywhere up to £5 for these. I'm not going for closed back shoes at the moment, but there's a little bit more give when you've got a strap at the back. So strappy heels, that sort of thing, I'm still buying, but I'm not buying so much of the wear closed back ladies heels. Whistles top, lovely, so I shall do well out of those. Now, next item I got from another guy, and he had no idea what he was selling. He had a number of ladies' shoes on his table, and I asked how much he wanted for this particular pair, and he said, make me an offer. How much do you want to pay? And I didn't want to pay anything. It's not my store, your stuff, you tell me. And he ended up coming back with a £5, and I said, well, I'm happy to pay 3, which he agreed on. These are brand new, out of box, never used heels by Reese. Reese is a, I don't know if you can see the label there, R-E-I-S-S. They are a good high-end high street brand. Now, something that I've bought to help me sell these, that I've had for ages, but for ladies' strappy shoes in general, is that if you see that, it's got this double ankle strap. If I let go, it just goes all floppy, it doesn't stand anywhere. There's a plastic insert that I've got here, which I got from either eBay or Amazon. What it does, it just holds the shoe up, the strap up. So when you're taking your photo, the buyer can see what the shoe should look like when being worn. So they weren't cheap considering they're just a bit of plastic, but there is no other way that I could do that whilst it looks good. So that little piece of clear plastic, I think I bought 4 of them for a tenner or something like that. So for a bit of plastic it seems like a lot, but the reality is it means that my pictures look better than without, which means my items are more saleable, which means I should get a higher price. So again, somewhere between, I think I would have said somewhere between sort of 25, maybe up to £35 considering they're brand new. So I should do well out of those. Next item. This, very excited about. Now I've actually bought a load of stuff off the same seller. this is a dress by Stella McCartney. Silk dress. This Stella, I've bought of her before, and what staggered me is the fact that I didn't get up particularly early. I was a bit crap and didn't get to the car boot till 6:40. I usually try and get there for about 6. And by that time, a lot of the good stuff is often gone. I didn't get to this stall until about 7:40ish, something like that. By that time, you've had a lot of people go through this car boot sale and go past this stall. And I ended up spending 70 quid with her, and I got about 10 items or thereabouts. And it's all either high-end high street but the majority of it is designer brands. And this is stuff that people have just walked past. This Stella dress should go for somewhere around the 85 to £100 mark. And I paid 15 for that. So very, very happy with that. £15 for a Stella McCartney dress, I'm over the moon with that. But I previously bought from this lady, and I have also got a silk top in it's exactly the same pattern as this, matching top. And also I've got the same top in a different colourway. And I mean, she knows what she had, but she was happy to sell them at a reasonable price. 15 quid, more than happy with that. But as I was going through, as soon as I found one of the things a couple of things to keep in mind. Number one, how is that still there at that time? That means a lot of people don't know their, if there are clothing resellers there, they don't know their brands, because they've missed out on Stella McCartney, they have missed out on Missoni. Proper designer brands, decent stuff, and it has been missed, and I don't know how that is. So, A, I should have been there earlier. B, know your brands. If you know your brand, you know when to spend your money, and I'm just absolutely staggered that this sort of stuff is still there at 7:30 in the morning. That should have been gone. That should have been the first thing sold. I don't understand how that's been walked past. So, and another thing to do is, once I found the Stella, I then recognise the seller after that. But if you find one good item, and then you find another good item, there's a good chance that person's either got expensive taste or got a good eye for style. And there's more than likely going to be other good stuff. So even if you don't recognise all the brands, which I didn't for all of these, sometimes you'll find something you think, well, I don't know the brand, but it's silk, or I don't know the brand, it's cashmere, or I don't know the brand, but that looks well made and put together. I'll take a punt on that. So whilst the majority of the brands I did know and was happy to pay for, there were a few that I didn't know about, wasn't so sure about, but I thought, you know what, I'm happy with the quality of this stuff. The rest of it, not a matter of trust this person, I like what they've got. I'm going to take a punt on some of the other bits. So this one, we've got a Missoni vest top. Again, Missoni stuff, very, very expensive new. I would have thought I should be able to get, so somewhere around the 8,500 for that. For a vest top like this, I reckon somewhere between 40 and 50 pounds. Shouldn't be too much problem. I can probably go higher, but I think that's a comfortable amount to get for that. What do we have next? Okay, this was a bit of a random one. Something that I've never seen at car boot sale before is Comme des Garçons. I think I've pronounced that correctly. Now, this is a weird looking dress. It's quite big. Look at the armhole, it's massive. I could get my entire body and shoulders through that armhole. But it's a dress that's been designed for a specific style. Now, something like that, the prices do seem to vary wildly. You'd be looking at somewhere between 50 and £100 back on that second hand. So again, really, really happy with that. 10 items for 70 odd quid. So we are looking at about £7 per item. Obviously I've paid more for some, less for others. I can't remember the ins and outs of what I paid for each one. But yeah, go and have a look at the Comme des Garçons website, and it will give you an idea of what the prices are new. But again, for a couple of quid out, for £7 odd out, fantastic top. That should, yeah, somewhere between the sort of 50, maybe 100. I can't be sure, I need to do a bit more research on that one. This one, Alexander McQueen jumper. That is lovely. So that one, it's a little on the bobbly side, but it's quite a distinctive design. So I think I can push quite high on that. McQueen jumpers typically go for used ones somewhere between the sort of 50 and 85 pound mark. Some push up towards the 100. I think because that one's quite a stylish design, once I've sold one or two of the items from this, it pays for everything else. So if I've got a big bundle, I'm more than likely to take a, not a low offer, but a sensible, reasonable offer early on, which pays for the rest of the bundle. Once that's done, I don't mind holding on for a while, and to be honest, I've got so much stock now that I can afford to push back on a lot of offers and go for the higher end really of what I'm going for. So I might push for closer to the £100 mark on that one. But yeah, really, really nice top. It's all still from the same seller. All right, this top is absolutely batshit doo-doo. It's a hoodie, but the arms are crazy. Look at the weird shape. Where's the blooming arm gone? Can't even find the arm now. There we go. Armholes are just weird. I don't know, it's not probably the best way of showing this, but it basically looks like Pac-Man. It's a weird looking shaped sleeve. So again, this is Comme des Garçons. Comme des Garçons hoodies, I mean, it's quite a distinct, whilst it's just a cotton short sleeve cropped hoodie, weird shape, because it's a very specific random weird design, I can see that going quite well. So I would have thought somewhere between the sort of 40 and 60 pound mark. So very happy with that. Now this one I wasn't 100% on. I've heard of Philosophy, but I don't know how good they are. So got a nice Philosophy shift dress or sheath dress. I always forget and get mixed up between the two of them. But that is nice, sort of a navy blue. Now I don't know a huge amount about Philosophy. I know I've heard of it and that it's a reasonable brand, but I don't know the ins and outs of it. And I was actually going to leave this one because I wasn't 100% sure. And as I was putting together my little bundle, the lady said, "Oh my God, you're leaving my Philosophy dress. Are you sure you don't want that?" I said, "Oh, I'm not really sure." She said, "Look, as you get so much, you can have it for a £5." And I thought, you know what, I'll take a punt at a £5. Let's go for it, because I do like the rest of her stuff. It's not as good as a lot of the other stuff price-wise, but I'll still get somewhere between, what did I look at? Somewhere 30 to 45 pounds. I'll probably push towards the higher end of that, but if I get a sensible offer, I'll take it. So £5 into 30 plus pounds, can't complain. So happy with that. This is another batshit crazy kind of design. Now this one, I wasn't 100% sure. Oh, that's backwards. This is by Sportsmax. Now, I wasn't sure, but I thought it might be something to do with Max Mara. Looking at the quality, so you've got silk. It's this weird sort. I don't know. It's like a woolen top piece, with a drop waist and some sort of rah-rah skirt in tartan at the bottom. I don't even know what the hell's going on. It's a bit random, to say the least. What is it made of? What is it made of? It's 100% silk. So we've got woven silk top, and then we've got the silk rah-rah at the bottom. It's a bit weird, to say the least. So I thought it might be something to do with Max Mara, and I was chatting to the lady and she said yes, it's one of the Max Mara sub brands. But what I did know when I was looking at it, thought that looks nice, it feels nice. I checked it, it was silk, and it said made in Italy. Made in Italy silk, sports Mac. I took a punt, and she confirmed, yes, it was part of the Max Mara branding. What did I look at that? Prices were very wildly. So the Sports Max dresses seem to go anywhere from sort of £35 to £100. I would have thought that being something quite distinctive, I can push for a higher amount, but it might mean it's sitting on my shelf for a year or so. So I'll probably try and put it up for 100, see where we go with that. If I get no interest, obviously I need to drop it. And if I'm putting it up at 100, I can afford to promote it more heavily. So if it means that I have to promote it at a 7% or an 8% promotion rate, I try and keep my promotions lower. Basically, don't promote initially. After a week or two, I put on a small promotion. If that doesn't shift, I'll then move to the recommended promotional rate. And then after that, I'll revisit my price. Potentially I'll drop my price, but I'll also then drop my promotional rate and go through that process again. But for something like that, if I've spent, let's say on average, I'm spending about £7 an item here, and I've got it up for 100, I can afford to put it up at a much higher promotional rate. If it sells at that higher price at that promotion, I'm still quids in, so no dramas there. So yeah, there's no sort of science to how I do it, but there's a bit of logic, not 100% logic. Right, I'll get the next item once I've had a coffee. Right, what do you need? I'm filming.
I want to say hello.
Okay, hello. Oh, you want to say hello here? Okay, come in, don't knock anything. I have a visitor. Do you have a bath?
Yeah, I can go
Can I smell?
Okay.
Very nice. Right, off you pop. Okay, enough of the robot. Go, 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 go.
Okay.
Careful. Next item. This, again, was one of those items where I didn't 100% know who made it. This is by a company called Elizabeth and James, but because I've got the confidence in the quality of the other stuff, I could feel, oh, that feels like silk. Have a look, yes, it's silk, and it looks nice. It's a nice silk top, sort of double layer, so you've got the cream underneath and you've got the black over the top. And I've no idea who Elizabeth and James are, but I took the punt. What it turns out is apparently Elizabeth and James is a brand that was something to do with the Olsen twins. Now they've got a few different brands, and whilst I didn't know a lot about them, I know that one of their sub brands, you've got jumpers that are going for sort of 400 quid second hand. So I don't think this is quite the same level as that, but having a look, I should be able to get somewhere around the sort of £25–35 mark. Again, I'll push higher and see where it takes me, but that's a lovely top. So yeah, should be able to turn. I think, so some of the things obviously I paid more for, some I paid less, and then there are a few bits which you bundled together to bring it up to the 70 odd quid. So I think that would have been about 4–5 quid, possibly this one. But I thought worth taking the punt. So that should do well. What else have we got? Yeah, this is again was one of the cheaper bits that I got from her, and this, the ladies' short sleeve blouse. It's got puffed arms, and this is by Jigsaw. Jigsaw's another high-end high street type shop, as far as I'm aware, and I've always liked their stuff. I think their stuff's well made, looks nice, good materials. Secondhand doesn't always get the values I thought it probably deserves. So if you're looking for nice stuff for yourself at a sensible used price, yeah, Jigsaw's a good brand to go for. They don't always sell as much as I would have thought. So for example, I've had Jigsaw riding boots before that I've sold for 85 to 100 quid. In my head, looking at this top, I thought I should be able to get close to the £30–35 mark, but actually having a look at it, nowhere near that. So the Jigsaw top, it's going to be closer to around the 20, pushing £25 mark if I'm lucky. So yeah, really nice stuff by Jigsaw. Not as, I mean, again, if you're turning a couple of quid into 20 quid, it's great. It's you can't complain, but it's not a all-out massive bolo, but it's a good brand to keep an eye out for. Have I got any more from her? I think the last thing I got from her, I think, is this. And that is long sleeve t-shirt. I wasn't sure if I was going to get this, and just, I don't know if you can see it, it's playing cards on the front, but the playing cards, I couldn't tell if they were, the transfers all got splits in it, and I wasn't sure if that was part of the design or if it was intentional design. Something I did miss, the hem stitching around the back has come off. So either that's a job for my mum to re-hem the back, but I don't know. I mean, if it all depends on whether that front playing card design is intentionally distressed like that. If it is, then it's probably worth me getting fixed, because it can sell for between 15 and 25 quid. But if it's not, I don't know. It's a nice looking shirt, but I don't think it's going to be worth my time to get fixed, because I have to pay my mum in wine. So yeah, not sure about that. But anything by Chloe, C by Chloe, S-E-E by Chloe, it's again one of the sub brands. Chloe, the main brand, serious money in that. So yeah, keep an eye out for anything by C by Chloe, but anything by Chloe, mega money involved there. Right, so that is everything from one seller. So let's get these out of the way. So that was all from one seller. These I got from another seller, and I got the impression this was a couple of ladies who buy stuff, whether it's buying clothing in bales or whether they buy it off the ragman or whatever, I don't know. But all jeans were £1. I'm happy with that. I'm going to look for good quality jeans. So within that, if they were more than £1, I don't know if I would have bothered with these. But these are men's, they're just plain sort of straight leg jeans, nothing fancy. But these are by Gant, G-A-N-T. So it's a good brand, but it's not a brand that has, say, like a cult following. So whilst I've only paid £1 for these, so my investment, my outlay, my risk is minimal, it could take a while to sell. They sell usually around the £25–30 mark, so I think that's all right as a risk-reward ratio, but they may take some time. The next pair is by Diesel. So Diesel Industry Jeans, Diesel. And these are a model called Zatini, Z-A-T-I-N-I-Y, sorry. And these are again a 34 waist, so straight leg jean. There is a little bit of damage to the hem, but not horrific. It's only on one, so I don't have to go one leg longer than the other. When Diesels have been heavily faked in the past, one of the ways of checking authenticity, in the label, you've got the Diesel label there, there is a very thin silvery looking thread at the bottom. Now in the fake ones it would just be a silver thread, but in genuine ones, if your eyesight is good enough or you have a magnifying glass or a loupe with you, you can see throughout that thread it's actually got Diesel written through the little silver threads, a bit like the silver strip that goes through your £10 notes or whatever. So similar sort of thing to minimise counterfeiting. These feel good enough quality. I could see the thread, couldn't quite make out the writing, but it looked like it should do. I still haven't actually checked it yet. When you're getting jeans, always check if it's a zip, that the zip works, so you've got all the buttons that should be there. Check the crotch for wear. If it's wearing thin, probably best to avoid. Check there aren't any rips at the backs of the pockets, and check your wear on the bottom hem. It doesn't mean that you can't sell it, but it may limit your maximum price. I can't remember what I've mentioned on other videos or not. Something I'm now doing is I think I have mentioned it before, when I'm taking jean pictures, I was finding that they always look awkward. So now when I take the pictures of them, I do flat lay, but I also take some photos with the legs stuffed with rolls of crumpled up wallpaper to put a leg shape into it, so it thins out the shape of the leg and makes it look more 3D, and I think it does make them look more saleable. It's a little bit of extra work for what hopefully makes my jeans pictures stand out and give the potential buyer a better idea of what they're going to look like on. Someone did mention to me, it's a bit like when you're making your Guy Fawkes doll, you'd get an old pair of tights and stuff the tights, and you could just stuff a pair of tights with old newspaper or whatever else, tie knots in it, and then whenever you're doing all your jeans or trouser photos, stuff them down each leg, and it'll be a lot quicker than the way I'm doing it. So not too bad, those. Right, what have we got next? This one, this is good. Always keep an eye out for good quality outdoor type clothing. We've got a Berghaus waterproof jacket. Again, I checked for holes. One of the things to see, if you see any outdoorsy type jacket, the prices vary wildly. So there are, again, premium brands and nothing brands. Anything that's got Gore-Tex in it, if you don't know the name and it's got Gore-Tex, Gore-Tex is a breathable waterproof membrane. So that'll be part of the fabric or sewn into it. And what it does is it allows the moisture of your sweat, etc., to permeate through the membrane one way, so it's breathable, so you don't get become a hot, sticky, sweaty mess in there, but it prevents water and rain coming in the other way. So anything that's Gore-Tex, it means that the company making it, so in this case Berghaus, have had to pay Gore-Tex some sort of a licensing fee or whatever to use the branding and use their fabric in their item. So if it's got Gore-Tex on it, the odds are it's a decent quality brand. Always check your zips, because I've come unstuck where I've bought a coat and then found out that the zip jams or comes off. So always check that when you're doing it. But nice, decent sized Gore-Tex. They wanted, what have we, I think, what did they ask? We settled on 7. I think I offered 6. I think he asked 8. I said 6, and we settled on 7. That should go for, depending on the specific jacket in question and the condition. That's in excellent condition, so I'll push towards the higher end, but somewhere between 40 and 60 for most jackets. I would have thought I'd be able to get to the higher end. They do have higher end jackets that will be worth way more than that, but that's sort of your middle of the range one. So somewhere between 40 and 60, but I think I should get towards the 60 on that. So for £7 out, 60 is winning all day long. And I think the rest of the stuff I got from another seller, just one seller. And again, I'd found one nice COS dress, C-O-S, and then flicking through, I found another nice COS item, and then a few other bits and pieces. She's also clearing out a whole load of trainers as well. So this one, this is a COS coat. So just a standard sort of round neck COS coat. And I'm trying to remember what I paid for these. Again, I put together a bit of a bundled deal. I paid £11. I think I did a couple of deals with her. So £11 for a COS jacket, a J. Crew cashmere hoodie, and a COS leather arm top. So yeah, we're looking at about £3 or £4 for this basically in that deal. I think she wanted a £5 for this, so £5 out for that one, and I should get somewhere between. Again, COS. The prices vary wildly, and this will come back somewhere between 45 and 75 quid. Now, I'm likely to get more money towards winter. I'm also, you're likely to get more money for a more detailed or heavier weight jacket. This one, nice condition, quite happy with that. I easily 5 into 40, but I should get more, hopefully. where's the other parts of that bundle? Okay, so this is in need of both a clean and a debubble. This is a hoodie by J Crew. Don't get confused with just Crew clothing. That is J Crew, and it's 100% cashmere. Anything that's just 100% cashmere you should do well on. But if you've got a decent named brand and it's 100% cashmere, that really does impact things. So I should be able to get somewhere between 40 and 60 pounds, I would have thought, for that, at least. I might push higher again. One of the issues is, so it has got a bit of bobbling, it does need a clean, but there is dog hair on it. Not just a bit of bobbling, actually it's quite a bit of bobbling. I can see some side light on it. But always check for holes when you're out in the field. There were no holes in it, and I knew that getting this little bundle deal together for 11 quid for that, and this 11 quid, can't go wrong. But yeah, 40, 50, 60 quid, somewhere about that. And then we've got another cost top, and I bought this. I don't know if that's maybe that's a short dress or a long top, I'm not sure. Maybe it's a very short dress, I don't know. But what I do like about it is that it's genuine leather sleeves. So anything that's got leather on it tends to mean it's going to be slightly higher quality. So there's definitely design work going into that. So you've got a nice raglan sleeve. That's nice. So I would have thought, it's difficult on that one. How much did I think I'd have a look at? I thought it was a top earlier, and I thought around 35 quid, but as a dress I might be able to get more. So maybe I'll push for 50, but if I get offers around the sort of 35, maybe £40 mark, that sort of area, then that's definitely something that I need to consider taking. So again, you can see the margins are good. So if you're not a clothing reseller, definitely start thinking about getting into it. Even if you just dabble and think, right, okay, I'm gonna, you know, I don't want to go too heavy into it, so week one, maybe I'll invest 20, 30 pounds into clothing and leave it at that. As you start then making your returns and income out of that, start investing more and more as you build your confidence. The vast majority of my stuff is clothing because it's, as I said before, relatively inexpensive to buy. You can't break it in the post, and you can get some massive margins. So that's those ones done. And then this I nearly walked past this because I'd gone through, there was already someone at the rack of clothing, so I started halfway and I picked up the other bits, bought them, and I was about to leave. No, I've got the trainers as well, which I'll show you in a second. I was about to leave and I thought, I haven't looked at the full rack of clothing. I went back and someone had gone past this. This is a jacket by the Kooples, Kooples. Kooples. Kooples stuff is expensive. I don't know a huge amount about the brand, but I know the reason I recognise the brand is because I used to subscribe to GQ and Esquire magazine, and that's how I'm familiar with a lot of the higher end branding. A lot of their advertising and bits in the magazine were the higher end brands. That's how they produce a magazine. It's sold on advertising money. So I've got that familiarity with brands that I don't necessarily buy. So this one, I think I paid about a tenner for that. That should get me somewhere between 50 and 85 pounds. So I'll just bring the jacket up so you can see the label. So the Kooples. And again, that's a nice wool jacket with leather trim, so you've got leather pockets, leather collar, and each pocket's got some leather trim as well. So really, really pleased. Again, a little bit dog hairy, so I do need to sort that out. But otherwise, that is another sound investment. £10 into somewhere around the, what did I say? Can't remember now. Kooples jacket. 50 to 85 pound, easy 50. I don't mind waiting a little bit if I can get 85 quid. So blinder on that. And then what have I got in here? Oh no, and I got another dress from her. And that was another cost dress. I think I paid 4 quid for this. And that is a sort of a maroon, again, round neck, long sleeve. It feels like wool, not dead sure. I've got a label in here that I can check quickly. And this is 80% wool. So yeah, nice dress. Should get somewhere around the £30+ mark for that. Again, with most of these, I usually price things around. I build in the option to make or take offers into my pricing. So I will tend to price a little bit higher than what I'm expecting to sell for. If it sells for that, that's great. If I get an offer, say 30% lower, I'll typically counter to around the 20% off my original price mark, knowing that that's kind of where I was at anyway. It depends. If the item's been sitting there for a while, I don't mind taking a lower offer. If I've only just listed it, I might only want to take 15%. It depends on how many watches I've got and how popular that particular item appears to be via looking at the watches, etc. So it's always, my pricing is always going to be fluid. Sometimes I've made a mistake where I've countered an offer, not heard back from the individual. Sometimes we'll have a little bit of back and forth and we'll settle on something. Sometimes it's not worked out and I end up losing a buyer. Sometimes I counter back and that means my postage is paid for. So it really does depend, but you've got to work out what works for you. For me, being a part-timer, whether I sell 40 items in a month or sell 0 items in a month, my bills are paid because I've got a day job, so I can afford to be a little more, I don't rely on this, so I can push my luck some of the time. If I was reliant on this for an income, I would probably have to have a different business model. I would have a far higher churn rate and I would sell probably lower than the market average, just to make sure that I've got quick turnover and can reinvest that money. At the minute, the majority of this money, well, part of the money goes back into investing in new stock, also equipment, etc., etc. Some of the money goes to paying off my mortgage faster. Yeah, my day job and wife's day job, that covers the mortgage, but if we can put an extra £200 a month towards it, at some point that we've worked out, it's going to probably take 5-6 years off the mortgage. If that means I can retire a bit earlier, I'm happy with that. And then if there's any money left after all that, that goes to having a bit of a better life, a few more treats for me and the family. That's great. So yeah, can't complain with that. I'll show you the trainers and then we're done. Okay, a couple of pairs of Adidas. So I've got some, I don't know if that's a bit bright. We've got those Adidas ones and these tees, and I got both pairs. I think she wanted 10 for one. She wanted 10 for both each pair, but these ones were a bit dirty, and I said, oh, they're a bit stained, not sure if I can get that out. So we agreed on 15 for both pairs. I should be able to sell them for around 20, in really good condition. I think these Ultra Boosts as well. But I should be able to get somewhere around the at least 25 to 30 pounds, at least 25 pounds, possibly 30, but I need to have a look at the specific individual models, possibly a little bit more. From memory, I'm sure these were 85 to 100 new, but I need to do a little bit of due diligence. So all in, I spent 150 quid. I should, looking at my median figure all the way through, somewhere around the £1,000 mark, just over £1,000. So if you consider my outlay against the potential income, my risks are also spread. Once I've sold a couple of items, that's all my entire outgoings paid for, and none of this can get broken in the post. There is a little bit of work to be done with cleaning, but it's the same. If you've got electronics, you're going to have to clean it and you're going to have to test it. You don't even know if it's going to work. With these, my risks are, is there damage to it that I've not spotted? For example, that Chloe shirt with the t-shirt with the hem stitching to come off around the bottom, but the reality is that was probably £3 outlay out of that entire bundle. So if you're going to lose, it's a small loss there. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of again, my process and what goes through my mind. But it just goes to show, even if you turn up late, you can get some mega items if you know your branding. There's no point looking through the clothing at 6 in the morning, being the first person to that clothes rack if you don't know what you're looking for. Get familiar with brands that you're not familiar with. If you're a gent and you're not feeling too familiar with gents clothing, go out and buy GQ or Esquire magazine. Go through, look at the articles, look at the advertising, get an idea through that. If you're a lady, or if you want to look at ladies clothing, Marie Claire magazine, Elle magazine, that sort of stuff, they again you'll get a good feel for it's building up that familiarity with the branding. Whilst you may not know the ins and outs of that particular brand, that familiarity will give you slightly more confidence. If you want to look at more of the high-end stuff and you don't want to spend any money at all, go on Net the Porter website or Mr. Porter website, and you look through the men's shoes, clothing, whatever else, women's clothing, get an idea of the branding, look at the original prices. All of a sudden when you're thinking, Jesus, that's a £300 top, it helps you remember those ones a little bit more. So that's a free way of looking at it. Go and look at a Fancy Pants website, or go on the Flannels website, have a look at their clothing, see what's what. That's given you a good idea. If you've got any questions, let me know, pop them in the comments. But yeah, it's been a good weekend, considering today is peeing down and I couldn't go out. So yeah, still really happy with that. So thank you again for watching. Hopefully that's given you a bit more of an idea. I know it's very clothing heavy, but hopefully that will give you some inspiration and some names that you may see out and about. And if you do pick up anything like this, please let me know. So other than that, I'll see you next time. Take care.